Okay, hello, hello. We need to change our names. Are you host or am I the host?
I just started it, so I guess I must have,
Yeah, I
if
think
I
you might be the host
if I
now.
started it, then I'm the host.
Yeah, oh yeah, it does show that you're the host. If you want to make me the host,
How,
or
how do I do that?
I think if you go to participants and you hover over my name, it might say make host.
I get a more. Make host. Hang on, dumb. You want to change to yes? Okay.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna let people in just a second. I'm gonna
This
rename
is
you.
tiring, and I haven't been doing the teaching part. Are you guys going to be? This is. I don't know about this.
I spelled your name right? Nina Everton.
Yeah. Uh huh.
Okay. I was just like, gotta. Okay, so we're recording. I'm gonna let him in because
Got to. It's time to start.
it's time to start already. Oh, 15 minutes in between is not enough time with all these great questions that are happening. Tina, hello.
Hi. Actually, I'm
Hi, hi guys. You gonna get sick of my face?
Here's some faces we've seen already this morning.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, let me just
great class.
get in here again. Make sure people are coming in. So yeah, I'm gonna just give a second for everyone to come in. There was a lot of people on the previous one, so I want to make sure that they hop off and then hop onto this one in enough time, and we will get started. I gotta pull up this. I will start sharing my screen though. Where'd you guys go?
Natalie, is there any chance that in the future, maybe some of these classes could be in the afternoon instead of like in a row or no?
I know with the Wednesday webinars, they usually keep those to Wednesday mornings, but I'm not sure. I mean, it depends regionally too, I think, because sometimes we do tools training on like a Tuesday afternoon in New York.
Oh, okay.
But that's why we record everything,
Okay.
just so if people are busy, then they can watch it afterwards. And then, of course, like email us with any questions that you had that were not answered.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so as everyone is filtering in again, I just want to do the introduction of Wednesday webinars have a new look. Oh, and I should say my name. I didn't say that on the first one, and then Kate introduced us, and I was like, that was probably a good call. I am Natalie Duguid. I am a MarTech marketing and technology trainer for the company out of New York. And this is the lovely Nita, if she wants to introduce herself.
I'm Nita Everton, Director of Education in the Southeast region here in Virginia.
And she is fantastic. And so we are going to go over today's, this section of class is basically about organizing your task manager in order to set clients up as a prospect buyer seller, which we were getting a lot of questions about those earlier. But basically the Wednesday webinars, we decided to break them up into smaller sections, very specific sections for you guys of just one focus in 3 short half an hour sections on Wednesday mornings, the first and third. And it is meeting style. So, show your face, unmute and ask a question, and anything that you need for that. Hold on. And then I'll get started just as soon. There's one quick question. If I already have someone signed up for neighborhood news, like a previous seller, and I helped him buy his next home, can I edit his zip code for neighborhood news? Yes, real quick. And then I will dive into the class for this section. Let me just find someone that I have subscribe to Neighborhood News. So if you click on the person under My People and you go to the subscriptions here, you can see all that got sent out here. And then you go over to details and you would edit it and you can change that zip code right there, Lynn. And then you'd save it. You can always, if you want to not do a zip code, you can always delete the current Neighborhood News and set him up with a new one that's not a zip code specific. Okay, we are going to get started. So, oh, not a problem. I know we were running out of time in that last one. Okay, so task manager. So one of the points of Engage is to basically kind of help organize and make sure that you are always staying in front of your client's face as a realtor and not let people slip through the cracks. And so one way to do that is just kind of checklists that remind you to reach out to them. And also just to walk you through the process. So if we go up to the gear on the top right here, we go to Engage Settings. Let it load. I'm going to click Task Manager. So there are 3 sets of plans. You have your generic marketing plan, and then you have a buyer and seller plan. These were very, very specific when we first started with Engage, and a lot of you guys said, it's too much, it's too much. And so they really simplified it down for people. And then you can customize it from there. So we'll start by going into the marketing plan right here. And so right now there is basically 3 tasks that you cannot remove, you know, adding them to the listing announcements or Neighborhood News subscription, which we talked about last class. Again, those classes will go up on YouTube if you miss them. And then, you know, send them a personal email, just adding that personal touch. From there, you can kind of make this plan however you want. The basic marketing plan, I usually say is, you know, you can put people on that maybe just bought a home with you, you know, just sold, someone that, you know, might not be a prospect for this year, but down the road or something. So you want to make sure you're reaching out to them, you're giving them valuable information, you know, maybe you're setting them up on a campaign, stuff, you know, down the road. So you want to keep this marketing plan a little bit more generic and not a ton of tasks for you on this one. But basically with days, you know, these are set for the same day. I can change that if I say, you know, I don't want them to get this listing announcement, you know, because I'm going to push it out today and then Neighborhood News on the same day, then maybe I'm going to push this back to the 20th and I can update that. And this, you know, it's more so going to be after a month. And that's going to, you know, pop them, change the order here. So you can change the day to be what you think is a good timeline for your people. And then also if we click add task up here, you're going to be able to either add any of the tasks that are available here, you know, add to my mailing list. So if I have a specific mailing list where I send a seasonal, you know, hard copy postcard, I can add this one in to make sure that I do this. And you know, that could be, you know, smack day one. I add them in the system. I want to make sure I get them into this group. It's something I do right away. So you have that. And then also we're going to click new because you can do your own task. So if there's something you do that is not a task available here, then that's something you can add. So, you know, maybe for me, I want to, which you guys would not do, but, you know, send them a training calendar, something, you know, like that. I could do my description. I could say, you know, I want that to be, you know, a week after I meet them. And then I can just add that right there with any of my comments. And then I could, you know, search and it will come up again if I want it to. So when I save this, it's going to say your changes only affect newly added people. So the huge importance of why we're going over this right now before we talk about, yeah, I will read the description for that one. Before we add people in and connect them to these is because once you sign them up for this plan, then if you go in and you make any changes, it's not going to affect them because they've already been signed up to the plan. So it's super important to kind of come in here and really look at it, because if you're getting, you know, reminders to do this for this person, and it's stuff you never do and you just ignore it, then you're also going to miss the really important tasks that you want to do. So less is more with this, and you really just want it to be the tasks that you're going to do. So let me go back into that. What is...
Natalie, you have a question? What does the send concierge offer task mean? Do you want me to take?
Yeah, so basically it's just send this person an email. I'm just gonna read the description. Inviting them to take advantage of free home improvement concierge services.
I asked that because I don't, obviously that's one that we can't delete.
Yeah.
And I don't quite understand what that means. I mean, what does that?
I'm gonna be honest, Nita. Do you? I'm gonna have to look into that one because I'm not. I'm thinking it's just that you go and, you know, look at their home and maybe suggest some home improvement changes if
Yeah,
they're looking at selling.
Yeah, and that's what you just described wasn't what I thought it was. So
Oh,
Okay.
that's okay.
what do you think it means?
Well, we used to have, as we would go with our contacts in the system, and you would put in anniversaries and birthdays or whatever, you would start getting these little pop-ups from partners with Moxie, inviting you to send people a gift or a gift card or whatever. And that's what I thought it was. So you want me to while you're going forward. And okay, so Michelle's thinking it's going to the Hannah concierge list, which is possible. While Natalie, you keep moving forward. I'm going to go to the Moxie help and see if I can find an answer for us.
That will be
I
great.
know what it is, and in other parts of the country, some brokers have what is called concierge service, but basically what it is that broker has an in-house home improvement business, and they take a listing and they improve it, whether it's floor sanding, painting, whatever needs done to freshen up from the market. And they do then deduct that amount of money that they spent from the closing proceeds. That's what it's called in like this, you know, California, all over the West. That's what's known as concierge.
And Moxie, I believe, is in the West Coast.
Yeah. So, well, I've just shot him a message, so I'll let you know if I get anything.
Okay, and that is why we love meetings, so you guys can all contribute to this, because I did look at that and I was like, because I don't think we do that here in New York. So, but yeah, so that's why.
Actually, I'm from California. I'm licensed realtor in California. I've never heard of this.
They were talking about it on one of the shows out there about the concierge service at Oppenheimer Agency. And that's, from what they were describing, is the term they use for, basically it's in-house home improvement to get the listing sold faster.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, take it as, you know, well, Nita, we'll see also what they have to say, if they have anything to add to what has already been said. But, you know, you could take it as just giving them some helpful tips of, you know, what they should focus on in order to get their home on the market. Can spin it that way if we want. So the other two plans, unless there's any more questions on the marketing plan, is the buyer and seller plans. Oops. Okay, so we're gonna go in and customize those as well. So you can see I've not touched my seller plan. It doesn't say custom, but I have touched the buyer plan. So the main part about this is it works the exact same way as the marketing plan with you can edit the days, you can delete ones you don't want, except for, you know, the ones that say unremovable. And then you can add tasks and, you know, add in a new task as well. The main difference that I wanted to point out is that the buyer and seller plans are a 3-stage process. So, you know, you have a prospect or prospective buyer here, and then you would move them over to active, you know, once maybe they were like, all right, let's sell my home, you get it up on the market. And then the pending task list of, you know, once the house is pending, what needs to happen. So this is a buyer plan. So once they actually start looking at houses, and then once they actually are, you know, in a contract with the house. So it's important to know that there are the 3 steps that you need to look into while you're going or moving these people over, which I'll show how to move a client from prospect to active to pending. So does anyone have questions? This would be a great time to kind of go in there, delete maybe a task, add a task. Yeah, so you will move your client from the marketing plan over to being a prospect, to being active, and to being pending when that happens. Just so that you can, that it's all about your sales flow and keeping tabs on it. And so I'll kind of show you where those show up in different places in a minute. Yes, so to get to this task area here, we're going to the upper right, the gear. And we do engage settings here. And then you're going to task manager. And that's how you get there. We add in all new clients, right? So you will want to categorize clients. I maybe would start with just a couple if you're figuring out your checklist, unless maybe you already have one. But that way you kind of know what tasks you want to have in there. And then I would recommend, once you kind of take a couple people through the process, then, you know, adding everyone on there. But you will want to do it in stages, because if you add 100 people to the buyer plan, then, you know, it's all starts on that day. So on day 1, all of a sudden you're going to get, okay, add 100 people to neighborhood news, which if you were in last class, you can easily do that. But, you know, if you wanted to schedule a meet and greet with them or something, 100 people on the same day is a little overwhelming. So it's sometimes better to kind of add in the beginning, you know, 5 or 10 people a week, just to kind of stagger it. Because then as it goes, when you're adding new people in, you're adding them to the plan, they're going to be staggered, and it's not going to be you put all your people here on the first day, if that makes sense.
Natalie, I have a question regarding a task. So once I complete a task and I mark it done, is that archived anywhere in Engage, or does it just basically disappear from Engage?
Yep, so we're going to go into my people, and let me see if I have a buyer. So let's grab this test buyer person here and go into them. So their transaction is right here. There, I am sadly behind in what I'm supposed to do. So if I say that this is done,
Yeah.
I want to say, here we go.
So it shows up under key activity.
No, hold
No.
on. No, it does not.
No.
Does it? Oh, okay. At
It
the
shows
bottom.
up under. Okay.
I was gonna say, I know it's in here somewhere.
Okay. So then I guess my next question is, if we had synced that task to show up in our Outlook calendar, okay, which I do with 90% of my tasks. If I'm making changes to that task while it's in my Outlook calendar, like putting notes or whatever, and then I eventually mark that task done, are all of those changes going to show up? Like if you click down under completed that task where it was showing at the bottom, if you click on that, is the detail of that task showing or not?
It
No.
looks like it's just saying completed on.
Completed. So I guess then if that's the case, is there anywhere within Engage, if we feel the need for whatever reason on a particular client to make a permanent note, whether it's part of a transaction or whatever it may be, where would we do that and know that that permanent note would be saved with that contact? Under
Okay.
notes?
So, okay. So there is a notes section, which you
Yeah.
can edit and write in. However, it's just one large paragraph. So you have to
Okay.
put in the date. So what I say, my trick that I do is under activity,
Yep.
I create a custom activity and write my note. You can even say, categorize it, and then I click done. And then it's going to show up in the actual timeline.
Gotcha. And that's permanent, whereas a task is not permanent.
Yep.
Perfect.
So if I'm doing phone calls or stuff, I'm adding it here just because I like to have that. I mean, that's,
Wonderful.
Can you repeat that one more time, please, those steps? Because that.
Yep. So
Okay.
I clicked into a person here. I went under activity. Then I did create custom activity. And I could say, mail, maybe sent them a Christmas card. So I talked about that. The date is all there. I'm going to click done. And then it's going to show up in order. So if I want to see all the interactions I've had with this client, all the notes, this is where I like to do it.
Perfect. Thank you.
So generic notes, maybe you can put in, the attorney that they use, or, something like that. That's not a date specific note about them. And use notes for that if you want, or just use activity.
Perfect.
Okay, so we did talk about how do we move people over from transactions. So I'm actually going to go to someone that would just be in the marketing plan. Again, using the filters, super helpful for you guys. I can see my sales flow up here, that I have 9 people in marketing, 11 in prospects, no actives right now, and 1 pending. So I'm just going to grab someone in there. Jane Doe sounds perfect. So right now, this person is just in my generic marketing plan. So it's going to remind me, I said make a personal call, post on their social media, just every so often to just continue to remind them of who I am, that I'm a realtor, that they loved using me last year. So they don't forget and they give me great referrals. But now they're ready, they're thinking maybe this year they're going to move again. So I'm going to, if I click on down here, I clicked into the person, I'm going to click here. I would then say, make this person a prospect. From there, I would choose if they're a seller or buyer. I'll choose my seller. And I can update with this house information, but right now they're just a prospect, so I don't have it. Like the MLS number and stuff. But I could put in some information while we were on the phone if I wanted, just so I know, what's coming down the road. Again, if they have that associated person, like a spouse or something. Then I would click done. And now I have, Jane Doe seller right here. Here's my prospect seller tasks. And then, when we get the home on the market, I would move to active. Yes. Yep, I can go through, I'll go through filtering again. And then again, I can move them to the pending zone right here. If, something falls through, I can just delete the transaction and they'll, be taken out of the flow. Can deactivate it.
But this all has to be done manually for each client. It's not connected with our other systems based on how the transaction is going. No, right?
Yeah, because it's the only way it can really tell is if you get your closed transactions on MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Will show up under your goals.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to know what client belongs to what, new listing you have or what pending you have.
So it's simply for us to organize ourselves and see where we're at. Okay.
Yep. And make sure you're not forgetting to, mail someone a house anniversary card or follow up now that they've been in the home for a month. You might want to say, hope everything's going great. And things like that.
Yeah, and just to reinforce what you just said, Natalie, as far as it's picking up from the MLS, I had a closing 2 days ago, and I had the buyer side, and I had them in my goal, and the listing agent didn't change it to sold until yesterday. So even though I had closed out the transaction in Engage, it didn't actually show up under my sold in my goals until until the following day, until they had gone into the multi-list and changed that from contingent to sold. So that's definitely where it's pulling from.
Oh, so it's really important to have that MLS number in there. Otherwise, it wouldn't recognize that anything has changed unless you did it, Tom.
Yeah, the company should connect your MLS number in there to pull through your sold listings. If it is not for some reason, again, this help button down here, want to make sure that you're synced correctly, but it should pull your MLS information when it does close with that. Real quick, I am getting asked just to show how I filtered again. With the sales flow. So if you want to check on your sales flow just under my people, I just do the filters over here to the right, and here's my sales flow right up here. So I wanted to see who was just in my marketing list right here. I click on this and apply, and all of these people aren't a prospect, buyer, or seller. Okay, I will, just an update on the concierge service, according to Moxie, is that it is a contact database cleanup service that agents can pay for. So it's an agent benefit service, basically, where they can clean up their database. So, but that doesn't seem to, so that's an agent concierge and not.
Yeah, I found, this is neat. I found it under the FAQs on the Engage CRM 2.0 support page, the one that opens up from your, when you click on it on GoHana on the far right-hand side. And under the FAQs, it's the only thing that's there has to do with cleaning up an agent database. I've sent a message to Moxie, but they haven't responded yet. The live bot service that comes under help didn't know what I was talking about, so I had to send an email. I confused the machine.
It is still early for them. So
They haven't had their coffee yet, right?
yeah, right. They're probably just opening up in a minute or so. Okay. Yeah. So that's basically your sales flow. Again, if you want to, once you edit your task manager, I know we kind of bunny trailed. It's hard not to bunny trail when there's just so many aspects. But once you edit your task management, those 3 plans, and you have them how you like them, you can just click under people, my people, this categorize wizard. And then you can just make them, a client, and then choose, if they're a seller, buyer, prospect here, or marketing plan. So it is really easy to add them into your flow once you get started. But again, I would really recommend to do this slowly. Like, I know you want to just go through and click, 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 But again, you don't want to have 100 tasks on that same day. It's going to be overwhelming. And this is a great tool to help you stay organized if you do it in the little chunks, because it's designed, it's harder in the beginning when you're adding everyone in, but once it's going, then it works really smoothly as you're just adding in this new client, adding them to the sales flow and getting those reminders for them.
And I think you touched on this in the first session this morning, but if collaborator falls under non-client, correct?
Yeah, so yeah, collaborator or personal would be under non-client. I can click on that just to show. So you have these two options as well. If there's someone that you don't necessarily want to put on your marketing plan or get reminders to reach out about. If you have, you know, like your attorneys in here or something, you might not want to, you know, post on their social media because you work with them all the time. But so you do have those options as well. Again, it's designed, some people just want to have clients in here. Some people want to have every single person they know in here as their, you know, database. So both is available. And then just a new feature for, you know, your transaction tasks or anything can come up under your to-do list here off of your dashboard. You know, so you can move this up to the top if this is what's really important to you, and just kind of look at your to-do list for the day under transaction tasks here as well. So this will really depress me because I have a lot of work to do. So yeah, so any questions? I know we kind of covered a lot, especially for a beginner's course. So I appreciate you all staying with me and asking such great questions. Anything else about this? The main point is get in there, edit your task manager, and get that set up how you like. Yes, Tom.
I've got a question regarding a house anniversary. So if I've gone into a client's profile and put in their house anniversary, and then their actual house anniversary pops up on my calendar, and I go through and I send them an email or whatever I'm going to do to acknowledge that a house anniversary. If I delete that from my calendar, that is not affecting their future house anniversaries. Like next year on their house anniversary, I'm still going to get that house anniversary notification, correct? I'm just removing that one occurrence from my calendar itself, correct?
Yeah, that for your Outlook calendar.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think if you even go to delete it, it could pop up where it says like series or occurrence.
And just make sure we check occurrence.
I haven't checked that, but if that option comes up, then definitely just do occurrence and not the series.
Okay.
Would be my thought on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys? I know, especially for
Nothing
those
else
that
is
were
in the
on
chat.
three classes today, that was so much. But again, these are going to be recorded and posted, so you can come back to them later as you're going through. And sorry, Nita, did you say something?
No, I just said there's nothing in the chat, so you're good.
We're good?
Mhm.
All right. Thank you all so much, and we will end this on time.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Nina.
Bye.